It's been said nicely by lawyers.
You don't have anything to hide. After all, you're an American. And so you talk, which puts you in tremendous harm's way. That's something you'd never want to do.
Shouldn't I talk? Shouldn't I just say something? And the answer is still no. You cannot say anything. You have to invoke your right to remain silent.
God bless America. God bless the Bill of Rights, and thank God for the Fifth Amendment. I'm not ashamed to say I'm proud of the Fifth Amendment, and I'm proud to admit on camera and on the internet that I will never talk to any police officer under any circumstances with all due.
And said not so nice by the Pot brothers at law.
Big brother, what do you say when the cops first pull you over?
Why'd you pull me over?
And when they start asking questions?
I'm not discussing my day or night, sir.
And if they keep asking questions?
Politely say, am I being detained or am I free to go?
And if detained, what do you say?
Sir, I invoke the Fifth.
And then, Michael Rappaport, what do you do?
Shut the
When you are talking to the police, shut your mouth. Legal disclaimer, I'm not an attorney, and this is not legal advice. So, scenario, I'm a police officer. I call you in for an interview, and you are the subject of the investigation. You know what I want, a confession. A full-blown, admit to all your wrongdoings, telltale heart confession. What if I told you that even if I don't get the confession, I will settle for the next best thing, your lies? There is a reason lawyers tell you to shut up. They are not saying don't confess. They are saying don't say anything. Sometimes the police really don't have much. Maybe they can't even prove you were there. Thanks to answering some loaded questions, you acknowledge that you were present during the crime. So even if you stick to your story that you didn't do it, you just made your lawyer's job harder. In fact, you can expect him to curse you out later because whatever story you told is the story he has to stick with, and chances are he's a better storyteller than you are. See, depending on what happens, your attorney has a blank canvas to work from and can paint whatever picture he wants. When you go running your mouth, confession or not, you make your attorney's job very difficult. 2019 was the year for celebrity arrests. R&B singer R. Kelly was one of the most notorious arrests that year. Now, an attorney would never let you go on television and make a fool of yourself, but his publicist thought it would be a good idea for him to do an interview with Gayle King. That was a disaster. Not only did he not look innocent, he looked like a raving lunatic and gave the investigators fresh perspective without having to ask him themselves. Jussie Smollett was another one. He wouldn't stay off the television about being the victim of a hate crime until he got arrested for perpetrating the hate crime against himself. He finally shut up, his attorney got the charges dropped, but now the city of Chicago is suing him to get all the money they spent on investigating his hate crime. Robert Kraft, the owner of the New England Patriots, was arrested for soliciting prostitutes in Jupiter, Florida. This was turning into a big deal because it was being portrayed as a human trafficking operation. Kraft kept his mouth shut, let his lawyer handle everything, and a year later, the charges were dropped. Now, police officers understand this concept better than anyone. They know if they're being accused of misconduct or crimes, the best thing to do is keep your mouth shut, but for them, it gets complicated. When it comes to internal investigations, the department can compel the officer to give a statement. The officer can then invoke garrity rights, which is going on the record that their statement is forced or coerced and thus may not be used in a criminal investigation. This is why departments will rarely compel an officer to give a statement, but if the nature of the investigation is criminal, the investigator will do everything they can to avoid the officer using garrity rights. Take Griffin police officer Matthew Boynton. He was under investigation for shooting his wife in the head. He was cleared as it was ruled an attempted suicide. The wife complained that Boynton took several of her belongings, and he told investigators that he did not. Unfortunately for him, his new girlfriend turned over the ex-wife's belongings, and The investigators bring him in for questioning, knowing they're going to arrest him, and observe how they read him Miranda and make it clear that it is a criminal investigation, not an internal investigation in which Garrity may be used.
All right, Matt, I'm just going to start off by letting you know that I am not conducting an internal investigation on you. Okay? So Garrity is not implied. Okay, I want you to understand that, all right?
Okay.
All right, Garrity is not implied to this incident, okay?
Can you fully explain what that? I understand part of it, just
She's gonna read you Miranda.
okay.
So I just want to let you know that I'm not conducting, I know I do IAs, but this is not an IA, this is in reference to a criminal investigation, okay?
Okay.
The charges would be dropped against Officer Boynton in the future, but he did lose his job. Another example is Oklahoma City Police Officer Daniel Holtzclaw. He was under investigation for forcing a woman to perform oral sex during a traffic stop. His investigators read him Miranda and eased his nervousness by assuring him that they were going to put all rumors to bed.
Yeah, Darius.
Why are you embarrassed? Why? Tell me why you're
The
embarrassed.
station deal, so.
Nobody. Well, I mean, there's rumors flying. I know, and we tried to do that as kind of quietly as we could, and that's why we took you up the front and stuff. But this is gonna make the rumors go away.
Okay.
Okay, for you.
Well,
The rumor tomorrow is gonna be on somebody else.
well,
Does that make sense?
Okay.
So let's get them off of you and get them onto somebody else and get this over with.
okay.
Now, I'm sure that he knew better, that these investigators are not here to help him, and that in some way they hold the leverage of his employment over him, but he goes along with their interrogation. He gets interrogated for 2 hours and insists on his innocence. He has the right to plead the fifth or ask for his attorney at any time, and there are 3 times in which most officers or people would draw the line.
You have the right to remain silent. You understand that? Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. Do you understand that? You have the right to talk to a lawyer and have him or her present with you while you're being questioned. You understand that? If you cannot afford to hire an attorney, one will be appointed to represent you before any questioning if you wish one. If you decide to make a statement, you may stop the interview at any time. Do you understand each of these rights I've explained to you?
I do.
Just write yes or I do or whatever right there. Oh, you're lefty too.
I will say again that I am not an attorney, but I don't want to make statements that are not compelled. I had to sit in this hot seat a few times, not in any criminal matter, but trust me, my union rep was either there defending me or knew about it. So the first instance is the interrogation right away. What is this about? Okay, cool, I want my lawyer.
Any reason at all, even from whatever angle, because it takes it a little bit to clear up those videos.
Right.
But any reason why your penis would be out?
No.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, that line of questioning should have made it clear that, okay, it's time to get an attorney.
You created some more work. Fixing to go. I just talked to Carrie.
Okay.
She said she was asleep when you got home and you did not try to have sex and you did not have sex.
Did try to have sex.
She says you didn't. And I asked her, could you have been asleep? And you had kind of, whoa, no. And she said no. You did not try to have sex.
As much as I don't want to involve her, I tried to have sex with her and she was asleep.
Finally, the detectives start asking the officer about his personal sex life and will collect his uniform for DNA evidence. They begin to ask about activities between the officer and his live-in girlfriend, and they want to call her to verify his story. Okay, deep breath. This is the point where you decide that maybe Michael Rappaport and the Pot Brothers at Law may have been onto something, and it's time to shut up. Holtzclaw was later arrested and charged with assaulting numerous women. He was convicted at trial and sentenced to over 200 years in prison. I'm going to do a video about his interrogation and maybe one about his trial, but I just want to recap the importance of the Fifth Amendment and your right to... Shut the hell up! Anyway, I want to end this video with a personal experience of mine. I had a trigger-happy commander when it came to writing officers up. And I get called into a meeting regarding an incident, and it was no secret that he wanted to write me up. So I called in my union rep, who in the meeting, he does all the talking, and I can see the commander sitting there getting angrier and angrier as my rep defends me. So I just sit there with the smuggest look on my face, and sure enough, I walk out of there with no charges. Anyway, not too long after, I got transferred, but it was still worth it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe. I have more content coming out, so be on the lookout for that. We have just about 10 subscribers right now, so thanks for joining the squad. I'll see y'all in roll call.